Good evening, I'm Mr. Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Anwar Ibrahim shocked the nation today as he announced his dream of becoming Prime Minister may finally become a reality. PKR President Anwar Ibrahim declared the supposed fall of Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin's government this afternoon after announcing he has a strong majority support from MPs to take control of Putrajaya.
Strong majority. Strong, formidable, convincing majority, not a small majority. And as I've said, I've alluded to in my earlier statement that details will only be said after an audience with the king. It's only proper that I give due respect, recognition, although a letter has been written to the king.
Anwar said he was scheduled to have an audience with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on Tuesday. However, it was postponed after His Majesty had to undergo treatment at the National Heart Institute. During the press conference today, Anwar denied that this would be a backdoor government, a label often used by Harapan to describe the Perikatan Nasional government.
No, this is not a backdoor government. This is a government that got the mandate and get the support with clear principles and policies. Those who have decided to join will have to accept that this government will respect the issue of integrity, good governance, anti-corruption, rule of law. Of course, it's a Malay majority, but a country that's inclusive of all racial, race and religious denominations in the country. That is a very clear position that I'm not prepared to compromise. And I'm glad to see that those who are with me have decided and have strongly endorsed this position.
Anwar said his government would not seek snap elections and that a general election would only be held when the time is right.
We want a strong, formidable government, a stable one. We have to resolve the immediate concerns of this country, particularly COVID-19. Secondly, the economy must be propelled. Number three, to deal with the issues of unemployment, abject poverty and inequality. To me, that's the priority. When it comes to the time that we need to conduct elections, we will do so at the appropriate time. There's no urgency because we have a stable, inshallah, God willing, a stable government, a working government, not a fragile government.
He also offered Muhyiddin Yassin a place.
Tan Sri Muhyiddin sekarang ini dengan jumlah ini jatuh sebagai Perdana Menteri. Saya persilakan dia untuk bekerjasama. Saya tidak ada masalah pribadi dengan beliau. Kesediaan dia bekerjasama akan membantu supaya perubahan, peralihan itu aman dan teratur, dan seandainya beliau bersedia, beliau boleh bersedia berkhidmat dengan apa-apa kedudukan yang sesuai.
If Anwar takes the Prime Minister's seat, who will be his deputy? He didn't reveal this during the press conference, but he had this to say.
Deputy Prime Minister, not Aziza. She will be deputy and advisor and lover. And of course, wife.
At present, PN rules with just 113 seats in Parliament. PKR, DAP and Amanah have 91 seats, while their allies in Sabah, Warisan and UPCO have 10 seats. Speculation is rife that Anwar will get support from GPS, which has 18 seats, and also from Amno lawmakers. According to Anwar, Muhyiddin has fallen, but the Bersatu president says he will remain the legitimate Prime Minister until Anwar proves otherwise. PKR President Anwar Ibrahim has been asked to substantiate his claim of commanding majority support in Parliament by going through the proper procedures in accordance with the Federal Constitution. Muhyiddin Yassin said until that is proven by Anwar, the PN government stands and he will remain as the legitimate Prime Minister. The Bersatu President's statement came after the Secretary-Generals of PN component parties and its allies similarly disputed Anwar's claim. In a joint statement, they accused the opposition leader of being power-crazy. The statement was signed by Anwar Musa of BN, Hamzah Zainuddin of Bersatu, Taqiyuddin Hassan of PAS, Alexander Nandalinggi of GPS, Jahid Jahim of PBS and Guan Di Kohoi of STAR. Meanwhile, on a separate matter earlier today, Muhyiddin announced a second round of Bantuan Prihatin National Aid for B40 and M40 households and single individuals. The payment will be split into 2 tranches, with the first payment at the end of October and the second payment in January 2021. B40 households will receive 1,000 ringgit in total, while M40 households will receive 600 ringgit. As for single individuals, those in the B40 range will get 500 ringgit and the M40 will get 300 ringgit. After Anwar's announcement, Ahmad Zahid Hamidi revealed that many Amno and BN MPs are actually supporting the PKR leader. Anwar Ibrahim may have the backing of many Amno and BN MPs, according to a statement released by BN and Amno chief Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. In a statement released this afternoon after Anwar announced that he has a strong majority to form a new government, Zahid said he was informed that many Amno and BN MPs have expressed their support for Anwar. Zahid added that Amno and BN cannot stop its MPs who have chosen to support Anwar, who wishes to be granted an audience with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Zahid said he respected the position of those MPs. The former Deputy Prime Minister also stressed that BN and Amno are not officially part of the Perikatan Nasional coalition and that the PN government was based on the support of individual MPs only. Earlier today, Anwar announced that Muhyiddin Yassin's government had collapsed. According to Anwar, he has secured a solid and convincing majority support from lawmakers. Anwar did not name the MPs on grounds that he must be granted an audience with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong first. However, not everyone seems eager to jump on Anwar's ship to Putrajaya. Several politicians aligned with the Perikatan Nasional government appear unfazed by Anwar Ibrahim's announcement. International Trade and Industry Minister Azmin Ali reacted on Twitter with only 5 words. The Bersatu Supreme Council member, who used to be Anwar's deputy in PKR, was instrumental in engineering the collapse of the Pakatan Harapan government in late February. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin urged the public to reject politicians who cause instability and negatively impact the government's economic recovery plan. Though Muhyiddin did not mention names, his statement came after Anwar's announcement. Another PN cabinet member, Khairi Jamaluddin, tweeted that the PN government had just concluded their weekly cabinet meeting and that all was fine. Khairi's BN colleague, Human Resources Minister M. Saravanan, said there was no cause for panic. Federal Territories Minister Anwar Musa didn't even use words for his response, just a series of bemused emojis. Anwar Musa also tweeted that maybe someone had, quote, caught a new virus. Amno Deputy President Muhammad Hassan was quoted by the FMT as saying that Anwar's announcement was a gimmick aimed at influencing voters in Sabah. A second Amno leader has tested positive after campaigning in Sabah. Here's the country's latest COVID-19 situation. Malaysia reported 147 new COVID-19 cases today, with 4 of those being imported cases. From the 143 locally transmitted new cases, 134 were detected in Sabah, 5 in Kedah and 1 in Kelantan. A new cluster has also emerged in Sabah, known as the Udin cluster. Today also saw a spike in deaths, with 3 new COVID-19 related fatalities, bringing the national death toll to 133. Meanwhile, Amno Youth Deputy Chief Sharil Hamdan has become the second leader from the party to be infected with COVID-19 after campaigning in the Sabah election. The first Amno leader to be infected was Supreme Council member Muhammad Razlan Rafi. Sharil took the test in Kuala Lumpur after returning from Sabah as a precautionary measure, though he said there were no obvious symptoms other than fatigue. He also apologized for causing inconvenience to people who have come in contact with him. Coming up next, Boris Johnson pleads with the British people to take COVID-19 restrictions seriously. The UK is set to take further action to halt the spread of COVID-19, but hopes the economy will still move forward. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson told the British people on Tuesday to work from home where possible and ordered restaurants and bars to close early to tackle a fast-spreading second wave of COVID-19, with new restrictions lasting probably 6 months. After scientific warnings that deaths could soar without urgent action, Johnson stopped short of imposing another full lockdown, as he did in March, but warned that further measures could come if the disease was not suppressed.
We must take action now, because a stitch in time saves 9. And this way, we can keep people in work, we can keep our shops and our schools open, and we can keep our country moving forward while we work together to suppress the virus.
In a primetime televised plea to citizens, Johnson said the winter would be hard, but that his strategy would keep the economy moving while containing COVID-19.
That's why we need to suppress the virus now. And as for that minority who may continue to flout the rules, we will enforce those rules with tougher penalties and fines of up to £10,000. We will put more police out on the streets and use the army to backfill if necessary. And of course, I'm deeply spiritually reluctant to make any of these impositions or infringe anyone's freedom. But unless we take action, the risk is that we will have to go for tougher measures later when the deaths have already mounted and we have a huge caseload of infection.
It was unclear if the measures would be enough to curb Britain's second wave, which government scientists warned could reach 50,000 new cases per day by mid-October. Masks will be required in most settings, there will be tougher enforcement of rules, and the military would be brought in to help free up the police, Johnson said. Schools and universities are to stay open. Businesses breaking COVID-19 laws face penalties of up to £10,000, that's over 52,000 ringgit, or even closure, while individuals may be fined £200 for not wearing a mask when required. Johnson said it was frustrating for the law-abiding majority to see a few brazenly defying the rules. In the televised address, he said that there had been too many rule breaches and that even those who are willing to take chances with the virus would be endangering others. The UK already has the highest official COVID-19 death toll in Europe, 41,825, while it is borrowing record amounts of pump emergency money through a damaged economy. COVID-19 medical staff in France are now getting frustrated due to the behavior of some careless people. Here they go again. Staff at this coronavirus unit are at the epicenter of France's second wave here in Marseille. But the mood has changed to one of frustration. Director David Flarat had almost cleared his private unit of coronavirus cases. Now it's filling up again.
We accept doing our jobs, but we don't accept having to do our jobs because people did not respect the right social distancing rules or the rules on wearing masks. That's totally unacceptable. We take risks with our staff, we take risks with everyone because they have not respected the rules.
Marseille's spiralling cases have filled the southern city's intensive care wards, so private hospitals like this one are handling the overflow. ICU doctor John Gabriel says last time staff were willing to venture into the unknown, not now.
For the second wave, the atmosphere is not the same at all because the staff are a little less willing. They don't want to go through it again, having not fully recovered from the first wave.
That said, at least there are enough face masks and gloves this time around. Nurse Natalie Roach says lessons learned last time bring some reassurance.
It's true that we already know what to expect. We know how to handle the care a little better, so we are more at ease. But psychologically, of course, it's still an extra weight. Although we have sufficient equipment, we have the necessary masks, we have the necessary materials, we have the necessary personnel.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. From Prasad Michael, thank you for watching.